moments.
Good afternoon, everyone. Happy New Year. Happy 2025. You are here for Cultivating Voices, live poetry. And today, for our very first reading of the new year and heading into our fifth season, we have our poets focus on the theme of art. And to make it all the more sweeter, we've decided to introduce in the new year our new format for Poets Focus, which is we will always have up to two featured readers. Today's featured reader is the amazing Tina Berry. Kim is going to introduce her in a few moments, along with her artistic collaborator, Kristin Flynn. And following the featured reader on our Poets Focus, always the first Sunday of the month, will be our, as usual, open mic that will open up that word, unfold it in all the prismatic ways that we do here at Cultivating Voices Live Poetry. Well, I'm your host, Sandy Yannone. I'm a little under the weather, my friends. I caught something over New Year's and had to cut all my gallivanting short. And so my voice is too weak to do the whole show. So I just wanted to come on at the beginning and just wish all of you the happiest of New Year. I'm here in spirit. I'm gonna be listening intently and gleefully and just being a really great audience member. So I'm gonna now turn it over to Kim Ports Parsons and of course Kim and Don. We can't do the show without them. And today we really can't do the show without them. So Happy New Year, Kim. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Sandy, and we're all hoping you feel better soon and your beautiful voice is restored very soon. Welcome, everyone, and we're going to get right to it. We are so happy to be hosting Tina Berry today, and I'm going to share with you her biography. And then as she's reading, I will share some of that information, her website, and her purchase link information in the chat for folks as well. What a great way to start off your new year with a beautiful new collection of poetry. Tina Berry's collections include her new book, I Tell Henrietta, from Aim Higher Incorporated, 2024, as well as Beautiful Raft and Mallflower, both from Big Table Publishing, 2019 and 2016. Her poetry and short fiction can be found in Rattle, Verse Daily, One Art, a journal of poetry, Swim, the Indianapolis Review, The Best Small Fictions 2020 as a spotlighted story, and 2016, and elsewhere. Tina has 5 Pushcart Prize nominations and several Best of the Net and Best Microfiction nods. She teaches at the Poetry Barn and writers.com. Let's all give a warm welcome to Tina Berry. Thank you so much for being here with us today. We're so looking forward to hearing your work.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Happy New Year. And I'm excited to be here with the theme of art because I Tell Henrietta is a collaboration between myself and my good friend, Kristin Flynn, who created this gorgeous cover for the book and contributed 9 fabulous images that really add a layer to the book that it's just.
Something happened, Tina, and you became muted. You were telling us about collaborating with Kristin.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes. So maybe rewind just a little bit.
Um, okay. So yeah, so I collaborated with Kristin on this book. I Tell Henrietta. She did you see the? There's the cover, and she created 9 really stunning images that add just a rich layer to the book. Um, so the subject of art is very close and very dear to me. My mother was an artist. She created beautiful watercolors up to about a year ago when her health was deteriorating and stopped around then. She died this November. Um, but art was important to her, and she made it important in our lives too. And from the time that we were children, we were living in the suburbs, and which she found incredibly dull, and she was thought of New York City as heaven. And we would get on a bus, and we would all, the 3 of us would go to the city. We called it the city. And one of our favorite places to go was the Museum of Modern Art. And it had a profound effect on me and my sister. So the first poem I'm going to read is called Lilies, and it's about a trip into the city to go to MoMA. Lilies. We hurried across 53rd Street, my hand in Mother's, both of us dressed fancy for a day in the city. Sun cast a building's dark diamond on the pavement, and I thought, that's art too, and glamorous, although I didn't know the word, couldn't have told you why. Inside, a swoosh of wool skirts, men's sports jackets, one dull gray. Eyes closed, I see still, the underbelly of a dove. A vast room at the Museum of Modern Art, on each tall wall, as if seeded and birthed there, water lilies. You'd say it was the flowers crushed from Monet's days, their offering of furled hearts, that moved me. More than awe, but in my navy coat and ugly galoshes, mouth wonder dumb, that's the word you would have used. When a stroke scrambles a brain, when my mother loses words, when a ghoul levels a country, I consider the soul, wonder what feeds it, what gobbles it away. I ask for a whiff of pond water, the ting of a lightly tapped triangle, some sign, any sign, to learn the lilies live inside me. So that's the first. Thank you. I'm going to read several pieces from I Tell Henrietta, the new collection that I mentioned. Okay, I'll just start with my year of drawing swans. Swans are a motif in the book. They appear several times. And Kristin, when she created the cover, here's the cover again, it was just so right on. We just loved it. So here is, this speaks to art, about the obsession of making art. This is called My Year of Drawing Swans. When the need to render a beak lived inside me, I'd swing one arm around a subway pole, press the lead point of the pencil into the notebook I carried. A dark dot launched the curve of hard bill. Between its eyes, the black knob gateway to the swoosh of neck. Stashes of swan studies filled the drawer of my bedside table. I'd wake to the sky slouching off its cape and label their parts, a new language I couldn't stop writing. Lore, nares, covert, its ledge of wings, the serrated lamella surrounding its tongue. At jobs I loathed, I'd peek at torn pieces, stuffed into folders, darken a wing, shadow the water. Once I had perfected the dusty diamond of its foot, the center digit so real I could feel its scalloped ridges with my finger. I stood in the subway, poised to draw, but the swans never returned to me. I don't have tattoos and I don't plan on having tattoos, but the art of tattoo making and wanting to wear a permanent mark really fascinates me. So there's swans and there's also lots of tattoos in the writing. This is Why Mermaids Upset Me. After we finish our hot dogs, my mother gives my sister and me a couple of dollars to buy cotton candy. Behind us in line, a man with a tattooed neck, a mermaid, finely drawn and delicately colored, catches me staring. I expect an indulgent smile, but his bugged out eyes mock me. His gaze travels from my face to my t-shirt and the flat chest beneath. When he reaches my ankles, he lingers on the lace-trimmed socks. Grimacing, he shakes his head, a small, intentional cruelty. So I want to show you the picture that Kristin created for that story. What was interesting, one of the interestings in the collaboration was I envisioned these characters, all these moments in a very specific way. And then Kristin would send me an idea for a drawing or one a piece, and it was entirely different than what I had envisioned. And I loved that. But this piece, it was like she plucked it right out of my head. So anyway, take a look at this incredibly creepy character. You see it? You see that? Yeah. It's just those icy blue eyes just get to me. Anyway. Okay. All right. So here's another tattoo character. This is called I Tell Henrietta About Rusty. I tell Henrietta about Rusty, who wanted to tattoo his name above my navel, like all his other girlfriends. Rusty. Life had already drawn on my skin the silver thread of a cesarean scar hiked up in one corner. He called it my second smile, and a more dramatic mark crisscrossed below a hip bone, as if the doctor had sewn with rope instead of thread. But rusty? Fenders rusted after too many snowfalls. Cast iron skillets, the kind I fried old Rusty's eggs in, rusted. When he ran his hand over my belly and said, "Come on, babe, do it for me," I thought, oh, hell no. This guy wouldn't stick around long enough for the ink to dry. So there's, thank you. Thank you. Thanks. And just for fun, here's a piece that combines tattoos and a strange man. This is Zeus again. Something about the guy in the bar bothered me. He grinned too broadly, as if my comments charmed him, leaned in too close as I spoke, was too easy in my company. I said yes, though, when he invited me to a Halloween party. Going through my mother's closet weeks before, I discovered an old caftan in shades of neon rainbow and welcomed the opportunity to swish around in it. On the night of the party, I opened the door to discover him dressed as an enormous swan. The costume seemed so lifelike, the eye black, glittering, feathers aflutter. Whoa, I said, and tried to back away, but his wings closed around me, one webbed foot wedged in the door. I'm going to take a brief detour from I Tell Henrietta for another poem about artistic obsession, but this time it's my husband's. It's called This Time It's Cats for Bob. And it begins with an epigraph from an 18th century courtesan. Men who draw cats are brilliant lovers and enthralling conversationalists. No more ceramics, just cats all day. The latest obsession, why? Even he can't say. All I see is his head bowed, cosmic tomcat in the corona of studio lamplight. He draws 3 lines of 3 cats' heads, a 9 feline litter. At first, a nonette of puffballs, eager to snuggle. Now they're strange, eyes deranged, ears twin spindles, pelts repulse. Perhaps they have a certain je ne sais quoi only he can see, an inner life he's unearthing. Pet them, he says. Thank you. I'm going to conclude with Oh, the Carnies. I tell Henrietta how the flaps of carnival trucks waved like dirty elephants' ears. In a day, the parking lot of our small strip mall reeked of all things sweet, and the twin tracks of the roller coaster carved arches in the sky. Carnies lounged in the sun, smoked in dormant teacups of a ride, snored in its saucers. One's teeth glinted gold. At night they strutted, tough toms, shirts open to cords of chest hair twisting north of their waistbands. Cords I wanted to paddle a boat down. One pulled his girlfriend into the darkness between tents, pushed himself against her. The night jittered with dunk tank shrieks and mallets whacking moles, but I swear I could hear her sigh. Thank you. Thanks so much.
Everyone, let's give a rousing. Go ahead and unmute and give a rousing huzzah, huzzah for that fantastic poetry, Tina.
Way to go, Tina.
Wonderful reading. Just dazzling and so much great feedback in the chat. I hope when you can now take a few moments and enjoy looking at some of the great comments and reactions people had. And I was really struck that you are a master of final images and last lines. Wow.
Yes.
Fantastic. So thank you so very much for starting us off today. Thank you for being here, artist collaborator Kristin Flynn. Your information is in the chat, and I will repeat that one more time as we get started on our open mic. We hope you'll stay and enjoy some of that with us. I'm going to go ahead and put my list of 19 names in the chat, everyone, but we may not have time for 19 folks, especially if anyone tries to squidge over the 3-minute mark. So please stay within the 3-minute mark so that we can hear from everyone if possible in the time we have remaining. We like to keep it to our 90-minute show time. And so I'll be brief and say, take it away, reader number one, Mona. So great to hear from you today.
Kim, Kim, Kim,
Yes.
I'm sorry. Kristin was going to speak for a few minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, sure. Hold on, Mona. Let's go ahead and hear from Kristin.
Hi.
Sorry about that. I was not
That's
aware of
okay.
that.
Hi, everybody. And it's so nice to be here with so many poetry lovers, which I obviously am myself. And I, just as Tina said, she always loved art. I love poetry. So when we met, we just took an interest in each other, and she started coming to my openings and my studio. I started coming to her readings, and I think you can see how filled with interesting and incredible imagery her work is, and it just became a natural thing for us to start to work together. We just did it out of sheer enjoyment, really. And then she was developing a collection and I was illustrating, and then she found a publisher. But I wanted to go back to the cover image, which is this painting, with the obsession of the swans, and how I would take her poems and copy them out in my sketchbook. And for that one where she went through all the parts, I drew all the parts of the swan like the woman in the poem did. And then it wasn't quite representing enough to me the idea of obsession. So I tried to capture the swan kind of merging in the woman's head to show how involved she was with thinking about this bird. And it was just beautiful. We had such a great time. I just love so much of the imagery in her work. And I love the way that poetry and art can both create their own reality, and present a moment, just really preserve a moment in time, in words or in imagery. Another one that Tina didn't read is a poem about a woman being baptized. And I did a very large charcoal drawing. And I went through several iterations. I'm sure as writers, the first thing always needs editing and editing and editing and rewriting. And this piece is about a woman who's in a swimming pool at a Motel 6, surrounded by 6 men who are baptizing her. And when I first did it, I did a full-blown color painting of the woman in the pool with all 6 men and the Motel 6 sign. And it was just crazy. It was so packed with stuff. And I was like, no, I have to get to the essence of this. So I reduced it to just the men's hands, and the woman, I wanted to show her belief in what was happening to her. So I just reduced it to her, to focus on her, which is kind of what I think in the end, Tina's poem, and of course, I highly recommend the book. Tina's poem is really focused on this transcendent moment this woman is having. So I think that's enough for me. I loved working with Tina. We have a very similar sense of humor and a sense of also kind of nostalgia and love of nature. And we were coincidentally going through a lot of the same issues with our mothers, which we shared, which was really powerful they're both passing within a year of each other. So we've been through quite a time together producing this book. I hope everybody enjoys it. And thank you for having me on. Really appreciate it.
Kristin.
Mhm.
Thank you both so much. And I'm so sorry to have not made space there. It was really wonderful to hear your perspective, Kristin. And we're so glad you could be with us today. And how exciting to hear about that vibrant and fertile collaboration between the two of you. And you know, it's inspiring to all of us. So thank you very, very much. And again, I have shared their information and Tina's website and the purchase information for the books and Kristin's website. So please, folks, do follow up and explore further and buy books, give books, donate books, review books. It's part of the work, right? All right. Well, thank you again so much.
Okay.
Here.
Can you see it now?
I see some text on a document.
All right. Self-portrait, Haibun. We write, surrounded by people and books. Across the room on a bar stool, a boy with a tiny mustache and wire-rimmed glasses. He reminds me of my son and the desert. My son in the desert, the war still far away. The young man at the counter is writing, his youth apparent, his youth transparent. Daybreak shadows linger in the mirror, the black cat in and out of the frame, just like me. After all these years, his fears finally thawed, and my son still far away. Nothing about us is as simple, yet black and white, just ways to say, I love you. Today I see how the night sets over the desert, how the sun comes back, Mom. I wish you could see the way the wind touches my face in the early mornings. The first patrol. The kids in the village are nice. Some days there are apples and candy thrown our way. I think they know we are leaving. Others will take our place. Mom, the desert is kind today. The pen in my hand is a memory, a remnant. I was young once. White hair falls on my face like a river. I stop worrying. I'm grateful for the young man writing his life. I see myself in the mirror early mornings, early fall. Small flower pots line the windows. The summer sun saved. The tiny seedlings rising timidly like poems out of dark husks. Why are we still afraid? Each night there is the black cat lounging on my lap, the white spot on his chest stretched as he looks at me softly. After all these years, my son is coming home.
Beautiful, Mona. Thank you so much. Thank you. And next we go to Giulio Magrini.
Happy New Year, everybody. Thank you, Kim. Because I'm obedient, this is a poem about art and the process of art. It's called Artists and the Intelligentsia. Père Lachaise Cemetery is the largest cemetery in Paris, where Oscar Wilde is buried on Avenue Carrette. Clouds of mystery veil beatified innocence, sliding on a winding, suppressed detour, stacked with rocks and littered glass. Our apprentices study the boundaries and decide to investigate beyond the threshold, initiate the journey to investigate this indefinable moment, to illuminate and pursue the passion and work of art. On the meandering path, They behold billboards of distraction, obstructions and flashing lights and jingles. They hear the fortunate privileged ignite the fuse of commercials, advertising the business of technique to the sponge of masses. But through the destiny of internal aesthetic justice, a wondrous phenomenon of disruption explodes unexpectedly and thunders in recognition by nomads lost in the wilderness and the mayhem of world. They are conducted by an artist's instrument to the gods of harmony and the explanation of humankind. The iconic slumbering artists of history decay prominently in Père Lachaise, jangle with the breathing collective leftovers, subsist around mediocrity and size, outcast, peculiar, and marginalized. The craft is camouflaged by the intentionally bewildered, senseless to the possibilities of achievement and the thunderous truths of the invisible as they disintegrate and withdraw to obscurity, exalting the stars with their answers. The medium and the touchstones of civilization were defined through history as an artist's production that begets the manifestation of us. These chosen few, these artists, exploring the challenging corridors of consciousness, pursue the natural continual reflection and expression of what it is to be human. Hear the melodies of spirit, recognize delight and fury and the blending of notes, tints of color, and the composition of words in this concordant and disharmonious world. The intelligentsia huddle and execute smug impersonations, categorize au courant dilettante to the innocent and novitiate who were not apprised of violence, and the camera is coerced in sorrow and pans to Avenue Carrette in Père Lachaise, where the lips of Oscar Wilde contort even tighter. And peace.
Thank you, Giulio. The manifestation of us. I love that. So great to hear you today. Thanks for being with us. And next we have
Thanks,
Amanda. Take it away.
Okay, I am going to read an acrostic piece on a mural that is in the Nebraska State Capitol building called The Blizzard of 1888. In the guest room, my son watches the history of serial killers again. What if the child is father of the man? He is 10 and wants to be president, but only after being an animator and a history professor. He never practices piano and doesn't believe the deep end is for kids who've learned to swim. He spends his time drawing timelines, lecturing us. I learn and relearn how to listen, budget my speech. Today is Labor Day. School's out, and at 5 a.m., horror movie soundtracks stalk the halls, overturn my porous gate of sleep. What do we do when our nightmares grow hooves? What if he becomes president? When I was a kid, TVs told us we could be anything. My son wants to be everything. How will he make it in this world where Amber Alerts flash along the interstate, where Jesse James hid 10 days in Lost River Cave, where a postcard gives us the height and weight of the pedophile down the street, and the Zodiac killer may live long as a redwood tree, where my parents and me still say, don't let him watch that. What if he becomes a serial killer? Who was it said you are what you eat? Who was it said a prairie can't hide from sun nor storm? Yoke of my yoke, he was born in a land that birthed a blizzard with lungs big as a hurricane. We dropped our jaws in the Capitol building, looking up to Nebraska's fearless maid. as the docent told the story. One 19-year-old school teacher tied 13 children together. And these 9 years later, I turned to her. Minnie Freeman, how did you do it? Which knot did you use to tie your whole life to each of theirs? All of you in this together. 1 mile on foot from the sod schoolhouse through the blinding, unpredictable. With what light did you guide them? Through the ice wind and deep static of certain death to the nearest farmhouse? And did it have a guest room, warm lit, like the one my son cocoons himself in on the cusp of adolescence? Something steady inside his brick facade and the wilder inscape where a rain barrel catches each ping of sunlight to the brim it overflows. Thank you.
Fabulous, Amanda. You know, Sandy and I both attended the University of Nebraska-Lincoln for our PhD programs. That's where we met and became friends more than 30 years ago. And that was so evocative for me. I'm sure it was for Sandy as well. I saw us both like, you know, and that painting, I mean, that mural and that story and that indomitable spirit. Wow. So anyway, thank you,
So
man.
you've probably seen it. That's great.
Yeah. So really cool. Thank you. And now we go to David Brydges. Welcome.
Yeah,
Thanks so much, everyone.
yeah. Thanks, Kim, and thanks, Sandy, for the art theme, which prompted writing this poem, and also thank you to Tina's reading, which prompted a new line in this poem. The bird that couldn't fly. Janice, our strict art teacher, was a down-to-earth technician. There was no room for imaginary flights in her grade 6 classroom. Realism reigned, and any reference to Salvador Dali was totally heretical. I am that bird that can't fly, for in school I suppressed wanting to be my sky. I dreaded this class of constriction, for I had a mind that loved fiction. This classroom was a claustrophobic closet where free spirits lost any light. Today's assignment was to sketch a robin, whose picture was taped to the blackboard. I vaguely remember how I was not sticking to sketching an exact representation. My robin had distorted, expressionistic strokes. Some small pine trees were added, which was forbidden. I fantasize that Black Hoodie Banksy is secretly sketching the teacher, wearing a coat of silver gray armor, dark high leather boots, a dead bird in one hand, and a whip in another. I sneak a peek and can't contain my solidarity. When handed in, Janice is furious and flags this caricature of insurgent art. For his sketchy shenanigans, a visit to the principal's office and the dreaded strap. Before you know it, he has disappeared, as if he were a ghost in our imagination. The next day, we received our sketches and grading. All the imitators got a copycat smile from Janice and straight A's. I wondered if any classroom artists ever went on to become real artists. A large F was on top of my paper. Humiliated, I sulked with resentment. I wish I had dared to channel this anger, stand up and scream, "How can you fucking fail art?" Unlike my real rebel father, who, legend has it, jumped on the principal's back in grade 7, subsequently was expelled from school for notoriety. I am that bird that can't fly, for in school I suppressed wanting to be my sky. I dreaded this class of constriction, for I had a mind that loved fiction. I adored the Beatles and remembered the song Blackbird and the line, "Take these broken wings and learn to fly." You were only waiting for this moment to arise. Someday, that will be an unfurling, and I will take this paintbrush and learn to draw the wildest purple robin I can imagine.
We'll look forward to that wild purple robin, David. Thank you so much.
I might write a poem on the process of doing
There
it.
you go. And next we go to dear friend Jeff Kaliss in California. Welcome, Jeff.
Thank you. And I'm going to follow Amanda's lead. I'm going to go ekphrastic. I'm also following her lead in making a reference to a soundtrack, another interpoetic coincidence. My ekphrastic is going to go to a film, Picnic, directed by Joshua Logan in 1955. I see Sandy nodding in some kind of recognition. So this is theme from Picnic. How warm Kansas in the dark middle of the evening, but strung alive with colored lights in the middle of a small town picnic, in the middle of Hal's 30-something unloosened bourbon, in the middle of little sister Millie's moist Midwest teenaged tease. And the band sways the temperate time of Irving Mills' moon glow. Millie moving clumsily, but hopeful to match the music and Hal's happiness. First, you got to set the rhythm. She hoping to be the fox in Foxtrot, to trot towards a taking, and Hal so helpful, so leathern, so smiling. But darling Susie Strasberg, I wish I could do it. We'll have to wait for a sweaty scene with some younger method actor someday, 'cause here comes Big Sister Madge in the beauteous body of Kim Novak. Big as William Holden's Hal, bigger in certain places. Matching the music, matching the magic, moving out of the nameless night, out of the Eisenhower era, and up to Hal's held out handyman's hand, where they connect with each other, like the electrified paper lanterns above them, and with us, like the boat on the creek passing by. This is the dance that moves us through every image, through every stage in every age, loving beyond the night, beyond their love, beyond our love. But note how our hearts stop with their stopping, with each, that moon glow gave me you. And as we throb again, and Hal and Madge close in against any ending, Charles Dooning, Columbia's composer, dazzles his theme over Mills's chord changes, and we know why we want to be. Thank you all for listening.
Love that evocation of Picnic and that dance. I can see it. So luxurious, Jeff. Thank you. And now we're going to Mary Louise Kiernan. Welcome. Fabulous poetry today, everyone.
Hi. I thought that Ken was before me, but I will jump right in there. So I wanted to say to Tina Barry that I experienced some connectivity and synchronicity with the first poem that you talked about and your mother's take on the suburbs and New York City. So the city in my poem is New York City, the borough of Manhattan. And this poem was written after I moved 90 miles north up to the Hudson Valley. And the word art, the letters A-R-T, is within the word heart. And the title of my poem is called At the Heart of Cabin Fever. Yes, blue fingers and sweet leather and a best blouse will thaw me. Our headlight beams shine on white and brown Guernseys and jerseys. Road signs flare up, then leap from view. Emerald happy-faced tolls flash, go, go. High heat blast from the dash, cruise me to the city. Not soon enough, we bridge onto the West Side Highway, beckoning like yellow brick. Anchored pearl ropes shimmer and trim the Hudson pier to pier. A black and white flashes and screeches past the docked USS Intrepid. A cold street hawker holds a hot Sony high. We armor with tempered glass. Lock, lock. A fleeting fix of Manhattans, and Tenderloin lingers. Yet too soon, recrossing county lines, reflective mailbox mimic deer and headlights, stations hiss static along back roads where I brace myself against a blizzard of blues. I reglove my fingers, and for a sole second, shiver no more. Thank you.
Wonderful imagery. Thank you, Mary Louise. And so sorry, Ken. I'm juggling my heart out here, buddy. You go next. Ken Burch.
Yeah, hi everybody. This is one of the series of I'm kind of evolving this form, this sort of a Senru form sequence, and it's as yet untitled, but it's sort of on the idea of creativity. Anything that is, but not until made is therefore created. Created, brought to being out of not being by a kind of will, of a choice, or a blend of choices, nothing formed to all. All, null turned to bone, muscles, organs, vessels, skin, all comprise the new child finding steps, each in sequence on its way, not quite sure to where, when, or why, for what purpose, in which place. Only knowing this is what it is, born of known intention, certain yet unknown. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Really, really interesting and so good to hear from you today. And now we are heading to Harvey Soss, followed by Ron Bremner.
Can you hear me all right?
You sound great.
Okay. My doctor would probably disagree with you, but I don't know if you can see this. Otherwise, I can post it, screen share it. Okay. I'd also call your attention to an invitation to Artful Dodger's poetry that I've posted in the chat. This one is called The Wrestlers, from the catalog of Greek and Etruscan vases. One would think that these two were an estranged couple, looking to power through a pepper-hate-salt contested divorce. Given the manner in which they circle round each other, they're grabbing at arms and legs, foreplay before the division of marital property, the establishment of reputation and bragging rights. A curator of antiquities might tell us from his high podium that this pair of wrestlers, classically trained, ears likely cauliflowered for lack of proper headgear, faces reddened by a touch of glaze, weren't engaged in a love match. The tension between them, palpable if unspoken. remaining unbroken after the paint dried despite hairline cracks in their attic, black figure amphora snagged by divers exploring a sunken trireme dated roughly 525 BCE. Just the sort of eureka find that, when polished to its former luster, might earn you 3 wishes from a genie. Slipped past the hound dogs of customs, its provenance will be much discussed by agents of high-end auction houses. See how these two grip each other existentially, none of their painted-on fierceness having been diminished by time, or the sandpaper scrapings of Aegean sea salt, ancient grapplers of an ancient race. I suspect that the tide of combat, with its throws and falls, its hammer blows, must have had an ebb and flow as their days beneath the sea stretched into eons, neither contestant, best of the best, having demonstrated any obvious superiority, matched equally as the fabric strips of Velcro, mutually dependent as Siamese twins. With both sides of this loveless marriage as necessary to the other success as the dipoles of a hook and loop fastener, the pair of them exhibiting that oppositional behavior, sometimes mistaken for attraction, of Jacob and the angel, Jonah and the whale, Spartan and condescending Athenian. With the ripping sound of quasi-marital separation hanging in the air, the tensile strain of mated pieces being wrestled apart, we are left to wonder what, if anything, was whispered between MacGuffins and the clinches, insults or perhaps the compliments hydrogen paid to oxygen while making water, with the score standing at H2O1. Uncertain whether, when final push comes to shove, with one amphora combatant's shoulders pinned to the mat, the winner will give the loser smack on his Matt Burns, a sporting pat on the back, some promotional gesture. The latter praying to Palestra, Greek goddess of wrestling, for a rematch before another 2,500 years have passed. Thank you.
Epic as usual, Harvey. Thank you so much. And next we go to Ron Bremner, followed by Patrick Lodge.
Hi, all. I don't remember whether I've done this here before or not. I hope not. But if so, I apologize. This was the opening poem of Sensation Magazine's Art Deco issue. Art is the last refuge of scoundrels. Art is the lost refuge of fools. Art is the antiseptic for festering wounds. Art is the weakest excuse of losers and the triumphant gloat of winners. Art Deco is consecutive floors. Art Deco is a strain toward the sky where no one's eye forgets to be. Art Deco is a separate ride through the mechanized orchard. Art Deco is a stillness that instills process. Art Deco is a process that instills opposites of retro. Art Deco is irrespective of hot sparks of living. Art Deco slides onto the roof of opposites. Art Deco is being on top of the cold cough of being. Thank you and have a pleasant day.
Such a fun exploration and play around with those words there, Ron. Great. Okay, we go to Patrick Lodge, followed by Eelka Lampe.
Thanks, Kim, and Happy New Year to everybody. One of the places I visit regularly is a town called Lindos on the island of Rhodes, and my favorite place there is the remnants of the temple to Athena, which is on a huge promontory above the village. And I got thinking last time I was there about the huge cult image which would be in the temple, a wooden image. There are many references to it in old texts. And I got thinking about the sculptor who made it, who would actually have been called a master carpenter, which I quite like. And so this is called the Master Carpenter of Lindos. They swoon up the temple slope in thousands to pray to my work, hoping their needs are met, their fireless offerings rise to the divine image. Some say the carver's skill is grey-eyed Athena's gift. My talent is hard won, though. My father's plane and chisel were his father's before, blades still sharper than a sucked lemon, swift eaters of wood. No pilgrim can be excited over a dull cave-born plank that's not seen a knife's polish, nor been warmed by my teasing touch. There can be no good in a bored god that skulks and moons. My Athena will stand tall, outstare all, unblinking, a pole star, solitary and matchless in the night sky. Better than something scraped together, she is wrought by my sculptor's soul. All begins and ends with the wood, cedar, olive, oak, pear, all turned sacramental under my hands. The chosen block will nag and splinter me day and night until I work it to loosen the deep memory of the God that lies in its heartwood. Each tap of the mallet, each curl and sliver of wood, each gentle gouge and fluted rasp disrobes, seduces, unveils the goddess in the grain. Tyrants and emperors may offer votives and drop baubles at my Athena's feet. But who is really God here? Thank you, Kim. Thank you, everyone.
Who is really God here? Great meditation on the artistic process, Patrick. Thank you. And we're going to head to Eelka. And after her, we will hear from Aaliyah El-Amin. So take it away.
Thank you, Kim and Sandy. I'm going to share from our recent published anthology, Inspired by Art. It's ekphrastic art, collaboration between us Olympic Peninsula authors and artists over the last 2+ years. And could I screen share? It says it's host disabled participant screen sharing.
Go ahead and try again.
Okay. All right, great. This is photography by Marion Baudard near the front door. And there's a glare in this when I took a picture of the picture. So the actual photograph looks a little bit better. Elation. One heavy-headed rose saved or violated to live the rest of her aging beauty in a milk jar, drinking profusely with barely enough water. But now she is the star of the entranceway, looking out through a long, vertical, rectangular window right next to the front door. And through its sun-glared pain, a hint of the Rose clan on the other side. Who is the elated one?
When you're ready, you can end your screen share.
Yeah, I'm trying to oops. Let me see. I guess I have to. Sorry, I'm just trying
That's
to.
okay. Maybe down at your share button at the bottom of
Can he do that? I'm trying to
we
see if I
can't.
can disable
There
it.
we
Oh,
go.
thank you.
Okay, thank you for that beautiful poem. Who is the elated one, right? Yeah. Okay, and next up, thank you so much. Next up, Aaliyah, take it away.
Hello, Happy New Year.
Welcome, welcome.
All right. So my poem is called Canvas of Creation. Art is a departure from the chaos, but sometimes it is chaos. With slashes of red ripped from the headlines of a George Floyd slaying. Sometimes it is depicted of the dirt poor, and sometimes the magnificent of a royal king. On the canvas, creation is born. The medium colored depth muse lies within the creator's palms. The masterful pilot manipulator, the captain steering our visual, the restorer of our imagination. The tapestry background setting is as important as the subject featured. It's within these nuances or subtle strokes something new and fresh is revealed. An invitation to linger, a moment to store. Over time, the richness goes deeper, the impact of time and effort imprints itself onto the viewer's perspective forever. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Lovely meditation. Thank you so much for being with us today and sharing. That was great. And we go next to Thomas. Thomas A. Thomas, so great to hear from you today.
Thank you. Let me see if I can share this piece. Oh, it's not.
Would you like permission to screen share, Thomas?
Yes.
It should work now.
Okay.
Give it another
got it.
try. There we go.
Oh, well. It looks very different to me. This was considered by the artist to be unfinished. And we were collaborating on something else, and I had 3 poems that weren't quite flying on their own. But this piece, Unfinished Orchids by Dorothy Embacher, inspired me to string together these 3 poems into one, called Almost. Through the dream veil made of orchids, another timeline appears. In this one, horses hobbled so as not to graze too far overnight, and behind them, on the backdrop of an alpine lake, the float planes land and take off, or float like kittiwakes. The horses are fat and fit, and the weather is fine, but something has not opened in the day, and she says no. Or orchids stand silent witness within the dimensions of this timeline as she taps with a key on the frame of his door. The door opens, her umbrella closes, then drops to the floor along with purse, raincoat, skirt, blouse, panties, bra, a path to the bed where time is endless for a long, languorous, wanton, rain-dark Tuesday afternoon. Or it's the same Tuesday with white orchids under his lamp on the windowsill, gleaming beside the steel-colored rain on the glass, past the time they had thought she might come for tea and poetry, and perhaps love would join them, savory, sweet delight of their skin and flesh so long neglected. But this time she said her no on the phone by text. No, not this timeline either, with some regret, though not enough.
Just right there with you with the imagery, Thomas. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. And Thomas will be one of our featured poets coming up very soon here on Cultivating Voices, which will be a thrill. Okay, we're going to move on to our next reader, Catherine Ronan from Ireland. So great to hear from you today.
Hi, everyone. Look forward to that, Thomas, hearing that too. Happy New Year, everyone. So I'm reading from my book, Art. It's the Japanese art of kintsugi, and the poem is called Kintsugi Love. Shattered, cracked, scarred, anointed with liquid poison, there is beauty in broken things. Drowning, helpless, breathless, courage opens a groaning box. There is beauty in broken things. Secret garden, green despair, tough ivy invades red crumbling walls. There is beauty in broken things. I am broken and beautiful, waiting for golden repair in the shape of your soft love.
For golden repair, waiting for golden repair. Wonderful. Great to hear you, Catherine. And we are so thrilled to go next to Pam Muller, followed by Isaac Cohen.
Hi, everyone. Happy New Year to you all. This is a very short little poem. It's only got 12 lines. No, it hasn't. It's only got 9 lines. My daughter paints yellow. At 4, she paints paper the color of yolks. 3 chickens, oval as eggs. She makes them fly on downy wings. At 6, she pegs the washing line with daffodils, a whirly gig of spinning sunshine, around and around and around. At 8, yellow headlights shining on cat's eyes, a picture of stars in a black crayon sky. Who knows how far she will go? That's it.
Love it, Pam. Thank you so much. Just wonderful poetry today, everyone. Wonderful poetry today. All right. We go next to our ambassador of peace from Israel, Isaac Cohen. Take it away, Isaac.
Dear Kim, dear Sandy, dear Don, dear all my friends in the world. Isaac Cohen. Love. I sculpt you like a goddess. And the second, Isaac Cohen, the journey. The first paint brush where to go. A scarf, square, a body, or portrait. But you know, your soul didn't rest until the picture is finished. Thank you, Isaac Cohen, Israel, and I hope the peace will come soon and all the people live with peace and love. Only this. Thank you.
That's beautiful, Isaac. Thank you.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Okay, thank you so much, Isaac. We go next to Nayma. I'm not sure how to say your last name. Chamchoun? Chamchoun?
Nayma Chamchoun.
Please help me say it correctly, Nayma.
Yeah, Chamchoun.
Lovely, thank you, and welcome.
Thank you. L'artiste et la poétesse. See how she runs to the flame as the moth to luminous things, knowing her wings may be singed. Filaments of light, a Pied Piper's tune. She is brave and foolhardy, yearning for the rage of the furnace, meeting its inferno head first, smirking as she sips her Bacardi, seeking ruinous pleasure, rising out of yesterday's ashes. Her voice drips like molasses. She beckons the seeker of treasure. He giving charge to her power. His tone, a call to love. The hand and the glove, each form shaped for the other, vibrating, a woman empowered, surging with confidence and allure. She pours back into the source for him to savor and devour. His hands tease such delicate strokes. She is the canvas of his passion. He works with ardent compulsion, an explosion of the joy she invokes. She watches him from her desk, painting him with her mastery of words, each immortalizing the paradise shared, the celebration their hands express. She woos him with her artistry of language, he with the hues of his soul, drinking from the other's bowl, their movements louche and languid, les amours muse, oil and color, pen and paper, mixing as they fuse, radiating. He smiles. She is called my soul's twin. Tell me, what do you think, darling poetess? He soars on the pleasure her eyes express. She hums, come, my twin, let our souls burn through our skin. Thank you.
Utterly mesmerizing, Nayma. Mesmerizing. Thank you. And our last two readers today, we are going first to Beth SK Morris, and then we will end with Lynda V.E. Crawford. Fabulous. Fine finale, everyone. Take it away, Beth.
Yes.
Can you see me? Good. Happy New Year, everyone, and thanks for sticking around. Like Amanda, this poem comes from a mural I saw on the walls of the auditorium of the High School of Fashion Industry, where my father was a teacher for many years. I saw it as a child, and it's a Depression era murals that cover the auditorium walls with stories of the immigrant workers, the labor conditions in the sweatshops, and the rise of union and government policies, all adopted to improve workers' lives. This poem is from a book called A Yellow Notebook, about to come out this winter, based upon my late father's notebook. And it's the section of the mural that covers the Triangle Shirtwaist fire in New York City. And it had a tremendous impression on me as a child, and it appears in my new book forthcoming, Victory of Light Over Darkness. Even now, when I have to settle for a 2-inch reproduction on the internet, I see the dead woman lying on the ground, eyes shut, mouth agape, body twisted by her fall. Yet she's draped in a bright yellow skirt, geometrically arranged across her torso, a mourner leaning over her, sobbing into her hands, wrapped in regal purple, sculpted like the ancient statues of Athena. No matter how often I see victory of light over darkness, I find consolation in the artist's power to render the unbearable bearable. Happy New Year, everyone, and stay indomitable in the coming year.
What a great message in so many ways. Stay indomitable indeed. Thank you, Beth, so much. And take us home, Lynda. Take us home.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much, everyone. Here's to an insightful 2025. Going to be a powerful year. I will read this one poem. It's also included in my new collection. I'll reference that in the chat. You'll hear references to Van Gogh's Self-Portrait with Bandaged Ear, Vermeer's Girl with Pearl Earring, some passing references to African death masks, and a reference to Portrait of Nat Turner with the Head of His Master by Kerry James Marshall. Thank you. Hatchet. I missee the point. Certain oil strokes, dreams leaking from tendrils, fingers that spill onto wood, or that wide daub on canvas. I misread the goal of an unseen sliced air, drop of soothing pearl, roughened death mask carved to spirit my praise. Even Marshall's portrait of Nat Turner with the head of his master fails to keep me focused, mindful of ekphrastic. I eased into graphite, smooth trip into poem, chasing an altered form as stark images pose near, not shaping my words, yet I hear them bleed, sliced through my fingers. My hand, no longer a rose-paled tip, no, not that. Now I am the hatchet. Poem. Thank you.
Now I am the hatchet. Wow, Lynda.
Wow, what a finish.
Fantastic poetry, everyone. I would like to invite everyone to unmute and clap and holler for the fantastic poets we have heard today. I am going to put
Bravo.
the names in the chat. Bravo, all of you.
Finish. What a finish, Lynda.
We amazingly were able to fit in 19 fabulous poets after listening to our amazing featured poet, Tina Berry. And another round of applause for Tina and her collaborator. It's been such a great subject for today's reading, and we want to invite you to join us next week. If you'll give me a moment, I will copy and paste the information into the chat, but we will have our first new book showcase of the year coming up on Sunday, January 12th, next Sunday, featuring Ainsley Clark, Thomas A. Thomas, Julian Weaver, and Lana Heckman Ayers. And I know some of you may have arrived later today, didn't get a chance to sign up for the open mic, but on Sunday, January 19th, we will have our wild card open mic, where will there be another opportunity for as many folks as possible to share their poetry. Sandy, would you like to give us a squeaky goodbye before we go off the air today?
I am the hatchet.
Oh, her hatchet earring.
First
That's
time I've
so
ever
apropos.
earring out of my ear. Oh, so much love. Happy New Year, everyone. Thanks for bringing the incredible, artful, inspiring poetry today and every week. I'm so looking forward to 2025 and more tea with Manuka honey. I'll see you all next week. And of course, thank you as always to Kim. Let's give a round for Kim. Thank you.
Juggling girl today.
We get more voices in when you're the host, obviously. And Don Krieger. And I'll just end by saying what I always say, folks. Obviously, I have to take very good care of myself, but take very good care of yourselves. Take exceptionally good care of your beloveds.
Indeed.
And keep writing.
Keep writing.
Those miraculous poems. We need them more than ever.
Indeed, we do. Blessings and love, peace, love, and poetry to everyone. Thank you so much. You can wind us out, Don, and we'll see you all next time. We saw a screen, but it wasn't as far as I could see, it wasn't a.
Okay.
It wasn't a. What is it that you want us to see?
Apologize. I don't know what's going on.
Share screen if that's possible.
Thank you so much, Kim. I will share in a minute. Just I wanted to say this is a piece from a collection that I'm putting together. I wrote at workshop last fall in, can you see it? I don't know if you can see it.